let me start with NSA. This dual hat issue, and we've raised that in our conversation, meaning that you would take, you're at Cybercom now, but now also the NSA. First, I'm just curious to the extent that you know the answer to this, and I think you do. To what extent does Cybercom now, today, currently rely on NSA personnel to execute its mission?
There is a really good collaborative relationship between Cyber Command and NSA. There are NSA personnel that serve within Cyber Command that those dollars for every individual are reimbursed by U.S. Cyber Command. That partnership has been incredibly complementary to the execution of NSA's missions, and really see that as a comparative strength for our nation to have the dual hat leadership of both the NSA and Cyber Command.
And the reason why this has come up is the issue of the delegated authorities, you know, where U.S. Special Operations Command and Cyber Command are the only two unified military commands that can operate under NSA delegated signals intelligence authorities. And now, while I think we have the use of these delegated authorities at SOCOM is well understood, the use of those delegated authorities at Cybercom, I'm not sure we could describe it or even write it in terms of having a clear understanding. As the Deputy Commander of Cyber Command, what's your awareness of the oversight and compliance standards used by the command in executing the Delegated Signals Authority?
Senator, as U.S. Cyber Command does execute signals intelligence authorities. It follows every rule aligned or provided by the National Security Agency, and oversight is conducted inconsistent with all of the rules that govern signals intelligence, and closely coordinated with the National Security Agency.
I guess the fundamental question is, why does U.S. Cyber Command have raw SIGINT access when such access is limited within the broader IC? What's the argument in favor of that?
Senator, the overlap between activities in cyberspace and within signals intelligence, those things are inextricably linked. And the partnership and how we've developed that to be able to leverage the authorities both within U.S. Cyber Command and the National Security Agency have been a power and have really been an enabler for outcomes for the nation. And I think as we walk through that, if confirmed, I will certainly be committed.
Yeah,
to
I mean, you
ensuring
didn't design the infrastructure, so we're not blaming you for it. You just have to, I think from our perspective, it's simply that when it translates over to Cyber Command, our ability to conduct oversight over intelligence dollars and activities becomes severely constrained in many cases. And I think that's the problem that we're confronting on a regular basis in that regard. In the past, we've raised that concern, and I think it's one you'll wrestle with, right, as we come into this role. And Mr. Casey, on the, and I think you're aware of this because you've worked on it, but there is no authoritative definition for offensive counterintelligence or strategic counterintelligence. And the committee, and you're well aware of what we've been working on in terms of a committee report on this, thinks it's really important to establish these terms to better define the counterintelligence responsibilities within the intelligence community, and as you know, those recommendations are forthcoming. I think you're pretty aware of what those are going to be. In your view, what is the best way to define offensive counterintelligence and strategic counterintelligence?
Thank you for the question, sir. As you note, the committee struggled with this and may address it in a forthcoming committee report that may be voted on in the near future. As you note, there's no government-wide definition of either, and I think the committee staff and the committee members struggled with a definition. Ultimately, didn't put it in law, but suggested that the Director of National Intelligence provide one. I frankly, having some knowledge of what the committee's definition was and some input into it, I think those definitions are pretty good, and if it's okay with you, I'd frankly just read them. The offensive counterintelligence means clandestine counterintelligence activity conducted for national security, strategic, and counterintelligence purposes against the target having suspected or known affiliation with a foreign intelligence entity to counter clandestine activities that threaten the United States or the national interests of the United States. And strategic counterintelligence means the processes and product of developing the context, tradecraft, capabilities, knowledge, and understanding of the strategic environment, including the intentions and capabilities of foreign adversaries and the national resources necessary to engage in counterintelligence activities to support United States national security interests, policy development, and planning processes. I mean, I think as the committee struggled with it, I think we all agreed we're not sure it's a perfect definition, it's a pretty good working one, and there'd probably some utility in having it.
It sounds like a pretty wise definition to me. You would agree the DNI should just take it up and just implement whatever we put in that report, right?
Seems like an excellent thing for her to consider, so.
All right, excellent. Thank you.